welcome to another edition of Blathercast Comics. I'm John.
And I'm Dave. Was that pre-recorded?
Yeah, I decided I would play it. You know, that's one less step I have to do when we're done. I would play it, and then I don't have to stick it in the beginning like I normally do.
Oh my god, it threw me off so much because I haven't been on the show in like 6 fucking weeks.
You remember? That's how we used to do it with the big soundboard and everything, and I would fade the music out and everything.
Yeah. So stupid. The beginning of this show is terrible now because of me.
Why is that?
Because I was like, wait, is that recorded? Oh, it's so stupid. Gosh.
I think it's great. You're great, Dave.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have a show without you.
People really don't like the sound of my voice.
Really?
Yeah.
Who said that?
The people that I talk to on a daily basis. Thanks a lot. Anyway. I don't care.
When we don't have a show for a long time, I get suicidal without hearing your voice.
Yeah, I know. It happens.
I need it.
Yeah. You do come into the shop, though.
That's true.
Yeah.
That is true.
What did you want to talk about today?
I don't know. It was fun. If anybody hasn't checked it out yet, it was really fun talking to Ibai Canales last week about his Iron Sights project there. I'm pretty excited to read that. But we talked about Transformers and whether they can have a gender or not. And it was a fun conversation.
That guy's cool, man. Met him a while back through Twitter, and obviously he's done a couple of things for our T-shirts, which he always does a fantastic job. And Iron Sights is coming. I think that campaign's a short campaign.
Yeah, I think it's got like a week left, maybe.
On the Indiegogo, they only did a little, like maybe it was what
15 days.
15 days. But yeah, that looks really intriguing. I like his art, I like his style, and does he have a name for the girl on our T-shirt? Did he name her? What'd you name her?
I named her Virtue and her bat signal.
Oh yeah, that's right. Her name's Virtue.
But I don't know if we could scrap that name.
I was like looking at that picture and I was like thinking of all these stories I wanted to tell just by that art. Like I was just like, oh, that would be cool that we could do something like that.
Right. So when I finally do start writing the script for Freedom Bringer,
this is a big deal.
She is going to be in that book, and I think she's going to be kind of like she's going to have an indigenous background in the area because it's going to take place in a South American on the South American continent. So I think she's going to have some kind of indigenous background. I think she's cool looking. Yeah, me too.
And she's definitely she's gonna be a badass, of course. She's gonna be on the same level as Freedom Bringer, don't you think? In badass wise.
Actually, the first fight scene, she kicks his ass. Like I've already decided that.
Yeah.
Like, she is gonna whoop his ass. And I don't know. I've got the outline, you know. I've got that, but I just gotta write it down. I don't want to spoil anything, you know. But
okay. Well,
see.
We won't spoil. I have like 6 ideas in my head, and I have like notes for all of them, and I haven't done anything with them.
Right.
It's crazy. It's great. I'm such a great writer. Like, you got to actually finish something. You know that, right?
Right.
Jesus.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, like our last book that I think we wrote the script for like 3 pages. I think.
Yeah, I know.
3 pages. We should have just crammed it all into like 15 pages and been like, here you go, short story.
I feel like that story was 2 different stories, though. Like, I feel like we were like, let's do a SpiderMan Max series. Like, let's do a really raw, like, really bad Spider-Man book, right? Obviously, you couldn't call it Spider-Man. And then, like, we had this whole thing about, like, owning people or whatever. And it's, you could, if you wanted to be owned by somebody, you could, right?
Right, and they were
going to call. I felt like it was two. It actually was 2 different stories. Like, it started to like not be cohesive. Like, there could have been a story about the weird politician guy and that, and then the kid.
So you think there was too many characters?
I just don't think the stories were fitting. Like, I think we jammed. Like, I don't know.
Well, I mean, you had the kid, and he starts off in Russia, and then
and he had a hot mom.
He had a hot mom. Everyone wanted to bang his mom.
Everybody commented on how hot his mom was. Like, that was the joke in the book.
That was the running joke. Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, his dad got killed by the Russian mob, and, you know, things go bad, and he overhears something, and his mom gets trafficked basically to America. So he like bolts out of there to go after his mom, and that's how he ends up on the ship.
Yeah,
that's delivering nanites to the company that the evil corporate guy works at, and that's how he gets his. That's not how he got his powers. I don't fucking remember, dude.
It was some suit that the girl was working on in the lab.
Right.
Or something. I don't know. Well, anyway, it's ridiculous. But I think we could have done a good job with it, but it would have been kind of silly.
Well, yeah, and I kind of got wrapped up with so bad about making the corporate guy just look so evil that my idea to introduce him was he was basically banging his stepdaughter who was roofied.
Yeah.
And it was just like, I just want to show what a scumbag this guy is. Like, what's
we were
the
really
worst
dark.
thing? Yeah, I was like, what's the worst thing this guy could be doing?
Yeah. Like, I don't think I could write that story now.
I don't either.
Yeah, that was just really, really dark. For whatever reason.
And I don't know. I had a totally different attitude back then too. Like, we did our show, and like every other word out of my mouth was offensive.
Right. Yeah, we were.
You know, and
really
I was
bad.
like, well, what does it matter? And that's what I felt like. What did it matter? But we had like 250 listeners back.
We had, we swore a lot though.
Our most popular episode had like 2,400 some downloads.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that was a script. Maybe one day we could go back to it and maybe make some changes. But I don't know. I think you'd have to start completely over. Like, I think the concept was okay. I just think we went a little too graphic and it was too much. It was like, okay, this is kind of like whatever, man. You're just putting stuff in here.
What? It was like superhero, spy novel, mob story, corporate greed. Like, it was like everything was in there, and it was maybe a little too much.
Yeah.
Maybe a little too much. Like, maybe all those things could happen with the character, but they should all be like totally separate arcs.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it just proves that maybe I can't write a book.
I don't know. I think
I think I got a better cohesive story for Freedom Bringer though, so I might actually give that a shot.
Well, the funny thing is John's like, what I've written some stuff down before and stuff, and like I've gone back to stuff and reread it and been like, whoa, this was terrible. And then I've gone back to stuff and be like, oh, I came up with that. That's a pretty good idea. But like, as the more I read novels, the more I read comics that are good, comics that are bad, you just learn so much more and like what to do. You're like, well, this will work, but this won't work. Or I like, this type of storytelling or that type of storytelling. So like, we did that years ago, and now it's like you've learned so much more about, what you like, what other people might like, or whatever.
So I was like, had my YouTube on autoplay, and somebody started talking about The Last Jedi, which there were definitely flaws in that movie, and I wasn't like, I didn't hate it, whatever. I didn't hate the movie. Definitely probably my least favorite Star Wars movies, but I didn't really hate any of them. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't hate the prequels. I didn't, you know what I mean? They were all fine movies to me, but so this guy's talking about it, and he's talking about, have you seen that yet or no?
I it's funny because like last week I have 35 minutes left in the movie to go. I turned it off when Phasma died.
Okay.
I was like, oh yeah, I mean, this looks like a good ending, and I turned it off because like I couldn't get through it. Like I was super bored. You said that all the movies are fine. With this one, I was entertained in a lot of the Star Wars movies. But the new Star Wars movies, even Force Awakens, I was entertained. But Rogue One and this one, I am not entertained at all. I'm very bored. Sorry.
Yeah, I wasn't entertained in Rogue One. This movie had its moments. I mean, the scene in the throne room was badass. It was a badass scene. Might be one of the best scenes ever in Star Wars, but it didn't make the movie. But the thing that he brought up that he thought was really dumb, I remember thinking, man, that is so dumb when I saw it. And that was the bombs dropping onto the dreadnought in space. I was like, there's no fucking gravity in space. How the fuck is that happening? Like, that bugged me when I saw it, and I forgot about it and I just had something on autoplay, and then somebody started talking about Star Wars, and I was like, and then he brings up all the points, and I was like, yeah, a lot of the points, I was like, yeah, you're right, but I don't care.
Yeah, what I mean? So like me personally, I didn't care about the movie because I don't care about the new characters. And I think the problem with the new movie is that, and I got blocked on Twitter because of this, because of my hot takes on Star Wars, right? But my thing is that all your original heroes of the original trilogy, the ones that were in the 70s and early 80s, they're all failures. Han Solo was a failure as a husband and a father, and then he just went back to smuggling and doing the same old shit. And he's helping the rebellion, but it's like whatever. And he would have been a pretty important part of the resistance, and he kind of just left after the kid went crazy or whatever. Leia was a failure. She's like the leader or a main person in this resistance that has not gotten any groundwork. Has not gained any ground in 30 years. And Luke is a failure to the whole Jedi and to Kylo Ren. So it's hard to watch your heroes
be a bunch of failures and then get replaced by unlikable or whiny or not as good heroes and say, accept these. Right.
I made a little bit of a thing that's like, you have the baby boomers that screwed up everything, and that's Luke, Leia, and Han. And now you have the millennial kids who aren't as good and are whiny to fix it. And it's like that's what it is. That's the movie, right?
Right. Yeah,
So that might be a big problem with the movie. I just thought the movie wasn't told very well, and I think getting rid of Snoke with no explanation or whatever, he was kind of an interesting character, and you killed him, and yeah, the scene was kind of cool, but I didn't care. By the time I get to that point in the movie, I don't care. There's this like weird love connection between Rey and Kylo, and I don't know, man. I don't care. Sorry.
No, that's good. No, I see those are valid points, but I just didn't. I still was entertained, and it was fine. It's like I said, it's my least favorite movie. Obviously, Phantom Menace is my favorite. So,
The Phantom Menace is way more entertaining than that movie, I thought, though. Like,
I like I like seeing the political background of why this war happened in the first place, and it's like, oh, the same reason the revolution happened in America. Pretty much. Trade disputes.
What this new movie, the newest movie here, it's just kind of like the same story with less cool characters. And I think like you literally have the rebellion up against like the Emperor in a replacement Vader. And it's just kind of like, why don't you do something new, man? Why don't you have a new threat come? Or why don't you have like a whole like secret sect of the Sith that are like badass? Or maybe there's a whole third dimension to this force, and they're not Sith and they're not Jedi, but there's something new. Like, I don't know.
I kind of like where you're going with that. So it should have, in my opinion, it should have started off like the Republic is back together and they're strong, right? And the movies should have had like the new evil force or the Sith, whatever, is like a small group, and throughout the three movies, they're actually gaining power and gaining ground back. Like, okay, it's 30 years after and the Republic is thriving.
Yeah.
And then something upsets a group of people or whatever, and then a new war starts, not just like, because you don't even know why this war started. That's kind of what I appreciated about the prequels, is because it kind of set up the whole, I mean, not that you didn't know that that's why the war started, because they did tell you in the original trilogy. Right. But it was neat to see it. And in this war, it's just like, the Republic didn't really win. What?
So basically what you're saying is maybe the most interesting stories are in the 30 years between movies. Like, right?
Yeah.
Like, those might be the stories we want to hear about. And not be told in like a little bit of a flashback or whatever. I don't know. I just thought it's like the Marvel method. It's like we're gonna ruin your favorite heroes, or not ruin them, but make them diluted or lessen them or kill them off. Your favorite heroes, to replace them with these new heroes, and you're gonna like them, and it doesn't work that way.
Right. Yeah, we're going to replace them, and we're going to replace them with boring people.
And you're going to like them.
Mr. Canales had mentioned on the last podcast, and I kind of agree with him on this, like Finn could have been like an epic character, and they just fumbled it.
Yeah.
Interesting, like coming up, like all he knows is violence and everything, and he's a stormtrooper, and for whatever reason, like something inside of him is like, this is fucked up, I don't want to do this. Like, and that could have been way more interesting, and then they just try to make him comic relief or whatever instead.
Yeah. I think the Force Awakens movie was way more entertaining. than The Last Jedi. Like, way more entertaining. Like, I enjoyed that movie. I thought it was silly in parts and very kind of like template remake, but after that, it's like this Rogue One and Last Jedi were really boring to me. Not interested. So I was watching Justice League last night.
I was just gonna ask you about that.
And I have 24 minutes left remaining. I didn't finish it. I fell asleep. So I didn't finish it. But like, I didn't really have a problem with it. Like, the first like 40 minutes was like, I'm all right with this. But
it wasn't as bad as everybody said, was it?
No, it wasn't as bad. I mean, it's super CGI. Superman looks goofy because of the mustache thing, and it's noticeable to me. It's just weird looking with his face and his facial expressions.
I thought the effects in that movie were not good.
Yeah, like it felt like it needed to be a little bit more of, I don't know what they do, but a little more time with it. I know the movie took a long time to make, and then they had rewrites and reshoots, and I think it was a massive mess. So for him to come out with a movie that wasn't terrible in the beginning, but where it started to lose me was the argument between Wonder Woman and Batman, which I do have to say, Wonder Woman, Gal Gadot is the best part of that movie. She's probably the best actor, I think, and her character is the closest to the true Wonder Woman that I think. So, like, I think she did a great job. And but Flash is a joke. Like, Flash is a joke, and I know they wanted like a new, like, here's your rookie hero, but I just felt like he was a very too jokey, too stupid. Barry Allen is a forensic scientist. He's not dumb. He's almost on the level as Batman, but he's not a detective, but he's really smart. So, like, I don't like that. Aquaman reminded me more of Lobo than Aquaman, you know?
Right.
Like, oh, that's a bat. I dig it. You know, like, it's kind of like, oh, okay, you're Lobo, but that's cool. Like, he wasn't bad. But what lost me was the part where they're, like, bringing back Superman from the dead. So that kind of lost me. I was like, wouldn't it have been better that they didn't have a choice and the villain brought Superman back from the dead to, like, use him to take over the Earth? I don't know. Why are heroes bringing people back from the dead like that? I don't get it.
Right. Or why didn't they bring him back like they did in the comics?
Yeah, I mean, I thought, like, the scheme was, like, so stupid. Like,
we gotta run and shoot electricity at the same moment that the cube hits the pond.
I'm like, how do you know? What?
Right.
Who told you? And Cyborg told you?
Like, well, he gets his power from the sun. Why don't we, like, try to fry him like an ant and see what happens?
Let's just put him on a whole bunch of solar panels.
Right. Let's put a big magnifying glass on it and, you know, focus the sun's energy. Oh, or even better, Batman's like, let's tape 5 bat wings together and shoot them into the sun.
So I know what happens. I haven't watched the last 24 minutes, but I'm going to. I will. Like, Last Jedi, I have 35 minutes left. I'm probably never going to watch it. I don't care. But I'll probably finish the Justice League movie. But I know what happens. Superman comes and he helps them out, and they form a whole Justice League. They defeat the villain, and everyone's happy. And there it is. That's the end.
Nailed it.
Right? I mean, where else are you going to go?
He could wave his magic gauntlet and everybody dies. Oh, wait, that's a different movie that ended terribly.
I haven't watched that one either. So I know people spoiled Avengers Infinity War for me, but it's not a spoiler because I've read Infinity Gauntlet. And
right.
So, like, when people are like, I'm so shocked they killed half of the people, I'm like, he did kill half the universe in the comic. You know that, right? Like, I'm not shocked at all. Like, I would be disappointed if he didn't do that. So I want to watch that one, though. I don't go to the movies very often.
Yeah, we recently saw The Incredibles 2.
Oh, yeah.
Me and Wyatt went. It wasn't as bad as I expected it to be. It was basically the same.
So why would you think it was going to be bad?
Because the previews to me made it look not good.
Okay.
I thought they were going with the classic Disney, the father is an idiot scheme, which they did. And they did in the first movie too. And they still made him look bad. Like they basically role reversed in this movie, from the first movie, but it was the same plot pretty much. You had, the mom was the one recruited by an outside organization to bring superheroes back into the fold or whatever. And she was the one that got duped, but in the first movie, the guy, really was it was really more about his ego than it was about saving his family. Where, this becomes about her ego, after she gets the job. But prior, she's like, I don't know that I really want to do this, but, they're offering us a lot of money and it'll help the family. And she's really reluctant to do it. But she does it because it's going to help her family. Where that motivation and then she gets the job and it kind of gets to her head a little bit. But in the first movie, it was all about the guy's ego and this sexy girl seducing him into this job. You know what I mean?
I don't remember. It's been a while since I watched it. The only thing I really remember is the little punk sidekick that he was like, leave me alone, kid, or whatever. And then the kid became the villain.
Right. But first he tries to get Mr. Incredible to work for him. So in this one, it's another organization that looks like they're good. And it's a brother-sister combo that they, she's like a engineer and her brother's like the sales guy. And their dad was a big superhero patron before superheroes got outlawed, and they inherited the company and they want to bring superheroes back. And the guy is actually not a bad guy, but the sister, the engineer, is. So it ends up being the people that she goes to work for are the bad. It's the exact same storyline, pretty much.
Women, I tell you. I probably would like the movie though. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I like the first one, what I remember, so I'll probably like it. Even if it's the exact same thing, I'll probably like it. Did your kid like it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Wyatt liked it. That's probably one of the reasons why I really like Last Jedi, is because Wyatt loved it, especially in the theater. And like when those camel things crashed through the casino, he was just like, oh my God. And I was just...
You took him to see The Last Jedi?
I did.
He was okay watching it?
Yeah, I took him to see Black Panther too. And,
oh, really?
Infinity War. He went with me to that one too.
Oh, really? You don't care? He doesn't get bothered by anything or
nah,
the violence or anything? No.
Wyatt loves those movies.
Yeah.
And we watched WWE Raw.
Oh, nice.
Last Monday together.
Awesome.
He totally dug that, and I'm like, maybe I'll start watching this with him.
Yeah, you're gonna get mad at some of the storylines, John. You'll be like, "This is so stupid," but yeah, he'll like it. He'll like it.
I was like, "What is this thing in the psychiatrist's office or whatever?"
Oh
I
yeah,
was
yeah.
like, oh my God, this is terrible.
The acting is really, really bad. Yeah, it's pretty funny though. I saw the new Jurassic World movie. That was the last movie I went and saw in the theater.
Did you love it?
I really liked the movie. I don't know if people got problems. I thought it was. I don't know, man. I'm a huge Jurassic Park fan, and you could point out all the bad parts and the holes in the storytelling, and I'll still like the movie, and I'll be like, yeah, there were silly parts to it, but like, I had no problem with it. And it was like this really, really cool scene in the beginning of the movie, or like at least the first part of the movie, where they're trying to get off the island. I just love that scene. I would probably watch that scene like over and over again. Just that part. Like, I love it. So
Yeah. All right.
you didn't see it?
I didn't. Nope.
Oh, okay. Well, I won't say anything then.
I've been trying to decide. I haven't seen Deadpool 2 either.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I've seen was Ready Player One and Jurassic World. That's it.
Yeah, so I've watched Ready Player One a couple times this week.
Oh yeah, really?
Yeah, I fell asleep both times. Oh well. So you said before we started the show you wanted to talk about hentai, like you really started getting into like squid porn or something?
No, just tentacle porn.
Right.
But if you said, I'm not gonna say anything else. No, I read a lot of manga. Do you have to say? I didn't know what tentacle porn was until like two months ago.
Really? You never heard of it before?
Nah, man. Well, maybe it was longer than 2 months ago. Maybe it was like 6 months ago. I had no idea what the hell it was. And then, boy, was I like stupid to look it up. But
I think the first time I heard of that was had to be early 2000s, and I was like at somebody's house or on a gaming forum or something, and there was like a video of one of those like 3D sex games, and that's what was in it. And I was like, wow, that's fucked up.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I just never came across that, I guess. I don't know. Like, I would see people like say jokes about it, and I'd be like, what the hell is that? Like a lot of things, man. I'm on Twitter, and I had like half the tweets I see, I have no idea what people are talking about. And it's like, I get like people that are into video games, people that are into manga and anime, and then comic books. So like the comic book thing, I'm pretty good. I can figure it out. But man, when there's like memes and stuff of characters that I don't know, I'm like, I don't know why that's funny, because I don't know the characters. So this is all like out of context, or when they use different, like I didn't know a lot of the terminology with manga. And I still don't. Like, I don't, like, I'm like, what is that? What? Who? But yeah, I'm like catching on. My buddy Grant Comics recommended One Piece manga, and I bought that, and it was really good. And this other book called Bio Manga, so that was really good. Those were really good.
So what you were actually saying before we started was you read something, and I totally forgot what it was.
Oh, I read. I've been reading Thunderbolts from 1997.
Oh, is that with General Hulk?
No, so like, yeah, I mean, he eventually joins the team when they, relaunch it for the 9th time. But in the beginning of Thunderbolts, so it was Thunderbolts in 1997. It was Mark Bagley was the artist, which I'm a huge Mark Bagley fan. He was a longtime artist on SpiderMan, Ultimate Spider-Man. He did New Warriors. He launched that book. And he launched a book called Thunderbolts with Kurt Busiek was the writer. And Kurt's known for his Avengers run. This run, he created the characters with Mark Bagley. And he's done a bunch of other books and stuff like that I really haven't read a whole lot of his stuff, but I've read this. And it just is the Masters of Evil, who are a villainous team against the Avengers, and there's a classic storyline where they go into the Avengers mansion and like basically beat the crap out of them and beat up Jarvis the butler and all that stuff, right? But so they're a team, and it's right after the Avengers, the Fantastic Four, and a couple other characters sacrifice themselves to defeat Onslaught. And Onslaught was a big event with the X-Men. It's so much to talk about. But anyway, so basically Fantastic Four and Avengers are off the table. They're supposedly dead. They're off in a pocket dimension now. So there's a gap. There's only X-Men, the mutants, and New Warriors. And like throughout the books, they're always like, oh, we don't have any superheroes, but all the supervillains are still here. All we have is mutant freaks and young kids that don't know what the hell they're doing. And so there's a place to be filled between, the Avengers and Fantastic Four. So Masters of Evil decide to change their costumes, change their identity. Some of them change their faces and their voices, and obviously get new secret identities and all that, and new costumes, and decide to be like a replacement for the Avengers. And this is Baron Zemo is Citizen V, who is like kind of a patriotic character, and he claims to be the great grandson of the original Citizen V, who was a character back in the 1940s. And then all the other characters were like the Beetle was Mach 1, Screaming Mimi was Songbird, and Goliath was Atlas, and so on. But they decide to become heroes to take over the world. Basically, they're like, hey, we're going to earn everyone's trust. We're going to be heroes. And then the government is just going to hand us stuff. They're going to give us a place to live. They're going to give us technology. They're going to give us all their secrets. They're going to give us codes to missiles, and they're going to give us protocols to this and that, because we're going to be the main team to take care of everybody and save everybody. And once I got all the information, I'm going to take over the world, and I'm going to rule the world. So like that's the premise of the book. And obviously like shit hits the fan really quick, but it's fun.
That sounds like good storytelling.
Oh yeah, it's real fun. Like it's real fun because they're villains. They you have a different dynamic. Like they're not all friends, and obviously when you have like Avengers and X-Men, they're not all friends either. But I mean, this is more like, what if you made the Sons of Anarchy the Avengers? Like these are not good people, and some of them will stab you in the back and kill you, even though you're supposed to be on the same team. Like they're not good. They're villains. So it's definitely an interesting dynamic.
Speaking of Sons of Anarchy, do you have any feelings about that spinoff that's coming out here next month or this month?
It's coming out. I'll watch it. I haven't actually seen anything. I'll check it out. I really like Kurt Sutter's stuff. It's cool.
Did you like The Bastard or whatever, that other show?
No, I didn't get to watch it. It was on my DVR, and I got an upgrade, and the upgrade deleted everything.
Right. Yeah, I'm disappointed that show wasn't going to come back.
Yeah, it looked like it was something that I'd really like, but
it was pretty interesting, and it left on a cliffhanger, of course, and then they're just like canceled.
Yeah, it looked expensive.
Yeah, I think that the I can't even remember the name of the show that's coming out.
The Mayans?
The Mayans, yep. It looks good. We'll see.
We've seen like Jax's dad like through flashbacks and stuff, like their story, but I'd like to actually see like how the Sons actually got formed and stuff. And it doesn't necessarily need to be an ongoing series. It could be like, a mini series or two seasons or 3 seasons, but like, I don't know. I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, I just don't know what they're going to do with the Mayans, like where the story's going to go. If the whole thing's going to be about border jumping, I'm going to be pissed.
Yeah, I mean, Kurt.
I
don't know.
I want to see him run drugs and guns and do this. Like, I want to see the other gang. I don't want to see. I just see, like, in the climate we're in, that's what the story will be about.
Yeah.
And it'll turn them into good guys helping families across the border or something. And maybe that'll be good when it comes out. But if that's what it's about, I'm going to be pissed.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it'll do. I really haven't seen any previews or anything. I just saw, like,
it's pretty much just them riding motorcycles down a highway. Hasn't really been anything more.
Oh man, that looks good.
Like, ooh, from the world of Sons of Anarchy, the Mayans. And that's been,
so
that's been
there
it.
hasn't been any kind of trailer.
No, it hasn't really been a trailer.
No, I would figure, like, it would be their gang, but obviously they have different customs and different, different things that they would do. You know what I'm saying? So
right.
I would think that would be. I mean, if I don't think it would all be all about crossing the border. There might be storylines involving that, especially.
And I won't be mad if there are storylines. I just don't want the whole show to be like, look at this biker gang are actually, they might kill people, but they're actually helping all of these people out. They're actually super good guys. I mean, the thing that made Sons of Anarchy so good is that they made those choices that, like, you just knew that none of them were really good guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, there's good qualities to each character. They're definitely, like, no one's all good or all evil except Clay. Clay was all evil. He's a piece of shit. But everybody else was there. Is definitely decisions that they make, and you're like, that's a gray area. They weren't like all. They're bad. They're villains, but they're not like. They're very likable people, though, too. Like, so, like,
right.
Like, Jax is a very likable guy. But he makes the wrong decisions, and they all are. There's a lot of the characters that are very, very likable. So yeah, like at the end, Jax realizes that he is the bad guy, So he knows. So, like, I like that story because it's a tragedy, and I like it. I like the way it ended. I liked everything about that show.
Me too.
That's how Shield was too. You watched The Shield with Michael Chiklis?
I did not.
Oh man! So Kurt Sutter was a writer on that show too. It's very similar type of kind of storytelling, and it's crooked cops, and that's a tragedy too. And like the way that show ends is like perfect. So
I'll have to check that one out.
Oh yeah, The Shield. It's got, like, I don't know. I think it's 7 seasons.
I'm starting to watch
really good.
The second season of Badlands.
Oh, I never watched that one.
So I pretty much, like, didn't pay attention at all to the first 2 episodes, and then I got into it. And I don't feel like I missed anything by skipping the first 2.
Well, how would you know?
Of the second season. Well, they were on, but they were on, but I was like, tweeting, reading comic books. Like, I wasn't really paying attention to them. You know what I mean? I'd look up when there was a fight scenes, because the fight scenes in that show are incredible. They're all like the crazy martial arts and stuff, which are kind of badass, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. It kind of reminds me a little bit of that Jonathan Hickman book I used to read all the time. East of West.
Was it East of West? Yeah.
The storyline kind of reminds me of that.
I stopped reading that, man.
Me too.
I'm like, tell me when the story's over, and then I'll get, like, the last few trades or something, because there's, like, freaking 8 months between issues and stuff, and it's like, I'm not going to remember anyway. So maybe like when all the series is done, I'll order the trades and read them all. You know, like
They were pretty good at being on time for a long time with that book too.
oh man, I bet you've only missed like 4 issues.
Man, I took like 2 years off of buying comics.
I'm not even gonna lie, dude.
Actually, it's probably more than that.
His books are like notoriously late. Like they all are. He started a new book called Black Monday Murders. It's like 5 months late now between issues. He had this big deal about this book called Frontier, I think, and it looked cool. And he had this big deal. It was like 2 years ago in this big Image Expo, and they were talking about it. And then he was like, "Oh, the second book is like 2 weeks behind because the first book is oversized and it doesn't make sense to ship the first book and then have the second book super late because it's going to be 2 weeks behind. So blah, 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 or whatever." So he's like, "I'll resolicit it in like later in the year." And that was like 2016. I swear the book hasn't come out at all. I'm like, oh, okay. I guess that book's never happened.
Weird. I'm still waiting for his book Bag of Dicks.
Yeah, remember that when he tweeted about that?
Yeah. I mean, obviously it was a joke, but
I can never tell with that guy.
no. Nope. All right. Well, I think we've went way over our normal time, but it's been a long time since we've sat and had one of these chats, and we barely even talked about comic books. It really feels like the good old days.
Yeah, we always are like, we're going to talk about comics, and then we never talk about comics.
Oh, yeah. So anyways, you can follow me on Twitter at Johnny Redbeard. Check out shop.blathercast.com. Check out our other show on it's on blathercast.com, and you can find it on YouTube under Blathercast. That show we're dedicated. We basically talk about music, and it's fun. So, like last week, we talked about TV theme songs and the Smashing Pumpkins album Pisces Iscariot. And at the end of each show, we give each other a kind of an assignment, like go check out this artist. It's what we're going to talk about next week. But it's a fun show, and we play some of the music and then talk about the music and whatever. It's fun.
Cool.
So, yeah.
That sounds cool.
Yeah, it's fun. So we did last week was like pick your favorite 3 and least favorite 3 theme songs. That was the assignment he gave me, but we both had to do it, and then we kind of compared what our bests and worst were.
Mm-hmm.
And then we talked about Pisces Iscariot by the Smashing Pumpkins. That was my pick. But the theme song thing, it was fun. And
yeah, because if you think about all the shows and sitcoms, and could you like do cartoons and stuff too?
Anything you wanted. So
wow.
I did.
So like, there's so much to pick from.
I did a reality TV show. Was one of my favorite theme songs.
Yeah, what is that?
No Rest for the Wicked by Cage the Elephant is the theme song for Yukon Gold. And I had only seen the show once, and I couldn't remember. I was like, I know that song is a theme song for a show, and I had to go to IMDb to look it up because I was like, I love that song, and it doesn't matter if I don't watch that show, I'm picking it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, I don't know. I figured out that probably 90% of all 80s theme songs sucked big fat ones.
Probably.
Although,
like super cheesy.
Right. Although I love the Cheers theme song, and I love the Greatest American Hero theme song.
We got like the Wonder Years too, man. Isn't that a good theme song?
Yes. Joe Cocker doing A Little Help for My Friends.
Yeah.
Yep. It's so strange because like you look at those 80s theme songs And there was like 3 or 4 really prominent writers. And that's why they all sucked and they all sounded the same, because it was like 2 or 3 people writing all of them.
All right.
Punky Brewster's the worst.
I don't remember.
It's terrible.
All right. Well, we should probably wrap this show. You can follow me at Second Prince. That's 2NDPRINTS. Yeah, that's it. That's all I got to say.
I really like the Fresh Prince.
I took it down. I'm just Pasta Bowl now.
Yeah.
Yeah. My buddy Nine calls me Pasta Bowl, so figure I like that one. But the Fresh Prince was Edwin Boyette called me that.
I wish I had a nick, like I wish somebody would call me something clever, but nope.
Sorry, I'm not clever enough.
Johnny the Fat Ass.
That's not clever though.
I just changed my name to Johnny Bratwurst because you were Tortellini, and I was like, is this a racial thing? I was like, my paternal line's from Germany, so I go with Bratwurst.
Now you're not DMI.
Right. Yeah, I'm John, not DMI. I'm not Dave. Johnny, not Dave.
Oh, boy. All right.
Oh, shit. Another issue in the bag.
In the bag.